Dear Scaleswappers, nice to meet you again. Thank you that you joined our podcast. And this is the first real podcast with industry leaders, with insights, what we want to deliver to you in order to keep you up to date, what is going on in crypto space, and especially if the crypto blockchain Web3 will be on the top again in some time, what we all hope. Today we have Asif. Asif is head of DeFi on Polygon, and maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Thanks, Mike, for inviting me. Yeah, just to give a quick intro about myself. So I joined Polygon back in March 2021, and back then the DeFi ecosystem was relatively small, I would say. TVL was low, daily active users were low, and number of protocols deployed were around 4 or 5. But yeah, I think pretty much the mandate from day one was to get more builders in, get more users in, strive for mass adoption. And I think we have successfully fulfilled that in a lot of areas, but yeah, I still can do a lot. I think in terms of my current focus, right now I'm focusing on what innovative products we can build on our upcoming solutions like Polygon Supernet, Polygon IT, Polygon ZK EVM. So yeah, happy to be here and thanks for inviting me.
Very good. And of course, I'm introducing my co-host, Mike from Scaleswap. Mike.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Asif, nice to meet you and glad to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Well, I remember Polygon as a pretty small Matic project started years ago, and it was incredible to see that how you guys growing in 2021, and to be a bit proud, we as Scaleswap with IDO Launchpad, so our product, we have been the first and maybe the second IDO Launchpad for Polygon and brought some projects to you. Therefore, we have some special relationship to Polygon in our heads. And therefore, you are the first to join our podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Pleased to be here. Happy to be here.
Asif, we know that FTX was the last, let's say, last big disaster in the crypto space, in the Web3 space. Can you give us some insights? Yeah.
I hope it was the last one.
Maybe not the last one, but the last big one. Let's hope like this.
Yeah.
And through this disaster, a lot of projects have been damaged because it was like a cascade effect out from FTX crash. Can you please update us if Polygon is, let's say, influenced by FTX crash, if the project was damaged very hardly by FTX, or completely no influence at all?
Yeah, sure. So I think we have made information public around this as well. So our treasury, our assets were not affected by the FTX going down. I think we, as a blockchain and as believers in Ethereum, very strongly believe in your keys, your assets. And we did not want to take that risk of placing that trust on one custodian, be it FTX, be it any other one of them. And yeah, I think we stayed true to that. And yeah, it fortunately benefited us.
Very good. So all the Polygon users, the startups can breathe, like say, freely, right? And we don't believe that Polygon will somehow be affected by FTX. So it's a statement of Polygon.
So I would say, like, as one organization or foundation, definitely we were saved from that exposure, but on a whole, the industry was hurt because FTX and Alameda and the whole group had sort of been interacting with every layer of crypto. So be it retail investors who were using FTX, be it institutions who were using FTX as custody solution, or even be it prop shop hedge funds who were using FTX as execution layer, using their perpetuals or spot trading, because FTX was very well known as one of the better execution layers, especially for leverage trading. So I think a lot of trading firms got their capital stuck, a lot of institutions got their capital stuck. Even FTX had a ventures arm who invested in early stage startups, and they had some portion of their treasuries, if not all, on FTX. So it's just that on a broad level, the whole industry was affected. And since Polygon Foundation is a part of that industry, like we cannot say totally that, yeah, we were not affected one bit, because as a whole community and the industry were affected. So in that way, we were of course affected, because a lot of people we work with were definitely using FTX. And yeah, if they are affected, then they are like part of this whole crypto movement, then of course we are affected as well.
Yeah, thanks you for the direct and honest answer, because it makes totally sense, right? If dozens of projects which rely on Polygon are affected by FTX disaster, then Polygon is also affected, because at the end, you are executional.
I mean, the builders create the network. We are just there to support the builders. So if builders are affected, then pretty much the network is also.
Okay. It will be interesting to touch base about how, let's say, how you want to support the builders more exactly, because, you know, Binance CZ, he unleashed now this 1 billion fund to support blockchain projects, blockchain builders. And maybe you as part of this story, maybe you have also some, let's say, dedicate some financial or want to dedicate some financial means to support builders who have been affected, or is this not the plan in Polygon?
Yeah, I think we already have. So I think the news went out like maybe yesterday, wherein I think Polygon Ventures arm, they sort of partnered with other people in the industry as well. So I think Jump participated, Aptos, Kronos. So yeah, like a separate $50 million fund has been set up, comprised of all. So yeah, we already are, at least the ventures arm, that is already like part of that effort.
Okay, so it will be interesting. So I haven't seen this news. It would be interesting to share between our also projects, because we have to be frank, and many projects, and we work with early stage projects in the seed phase, they are really bad damaged, because this is a time where investors are not investing without financials. There is no, let's say, power to execute the roadmap, and many projects will collapse and die. I hope that the good ones will stay and remain. This is
I think the mandate pretty much would be that teams, solid teams who have shown a history of implementation, execution, and in the past have been successful. I think mandate pretty much is to just make sure that those teams do not like stop their operations, because if people are already delivering and they have like big plans lined up for next quarter, next year, then it makes perfect rational sense to help them out in this need of our of need.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking about Polygon and about, let's say, short-term goals of Polygon, maybe long-term goals, 2023. So the first question is, do you have some very good, some insights you can present to us about the milestones? And the second question, if FTX, let's say, will be not, FTX disaster will or has, or you have to adopt your roadmap because of the FTX disaster.
Yeah, sure. So I would say like how we operate and especially my team, is that we do not like set goals for like whole year, because we just felt that crypto industry moves so fast that even in like one quarter, a lot of things can change. So rather
Mhm.
than taking it like 1 year at a
That's
time,
true.
we approach it like week by week, month by month, and then quarter, I would say, is like the biggest unit of measurement we use. Because it's like a crazy space wherein like $8 billion get evaporated magically. So you have to be really adaptable and make plans according to that. So I think pretty much for our next quarter or next coming months, immediate next months, I think focus would pretty much be on uh, shipping our ZK EVM rollup, which would be the first true L2 solution, unlike the other solutions which are live, which are not exactly truly secure. So it would be first mathematically backed uh, true Ethereum L2 rollup. So it's already in testnet, and yeah, just getting that in mainnet and making sure that bunch of applications are already there, they are live, and there's enough user activity. I think that is one, and especially around FTX. Now that you put at it, yes, that has also sort of uh, affected the roadmap, because I think with FTX going down, a lot of people, users, community are realizing that they need a decentralized perpetual engine and more emphasis on decentralized exchanges rather than using CEX for all their transactions. So I think CEXs have their own advantages, of course, when it comes to execution and depth of liquidity. But I think moving forward, especially how FTX event has panned out, uh, all major market participants will allocate more to decentralized execution layers. So let's say if a party was having 100% execution on CEXs, that 100 would definitely decrease, and the decentralized exchange market share would definitely increase.
Hmm.
So yeah, I
Okay.
think for that, our intent is pretty much to get the best decentralized exchanges on Polygon.
Mm.
I mean, in terms of spot trading, we already do have, but I think even for leverage trading and perpetuals, that's pretty much one of our aims for next quarter, this quarter.
Okay. So basically, I understand that your roadmap is, let's say, going to more financial nature, where you really want a strategic roadmap of Polygon. You really want to have as much access as possible on Polygon and as many transactions as possible. For our community who don't know this, maybe you can explain what do you mean with ZK rollups, and
Yeah,
if you
sure, sure, sure.
can, and how they will deploy it on Polygon.
Yeah, sure. So I would say like GK rollup is like a whole set of topics, not even topics, which will take like days to cover. But I think I'll give a like quick TLDR of what ZK rollups are. So essentially, if you look at Ethereum right now, I mean, right now, of course, gas fees are somewhat lower. But yeah, for constant usage, it is still quite high for normal people and mass adoption to happen. Now, for that, you need other solutions, wherein those solutions can act as a settlement layer or another blockchain, which shares the load of Ethereum. And essentially, you can build these other blockchains, which are EVM compatible, but without any sort of roll up, they are just standalone chains. And then there is no Ethereum security. But what happens in case of a ZK rollup is that every transaction that happens on that separate chain or L2, a mathematical proof is generated using zero knowledge technology, and then that proof is sort of rolled up or put up on Ethereum. So yeah, hope that makes some sense.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very hard topic, so we know this, but we have to educate also community.
Yeah, sure.
Very important. It's our goal, right? Like being in blockchain space. Cool. So so some big names, big partnerships you wanna maybe give insight to our community where Polygon signed or have signed
Yeah,
already.
sure. So I think we definitely have been very Web3 heavy from like past 2 years, but I think this year we realized that for mass adoption, we have to work with people who already have these distribution networks figured out or have a massive distribution network. So I think from Web3 native point of view, recent integration happened uh, for Magic Eden, that is the Solana NFT marketplace. So that news went out like this week itself. And yeah, I think from Web3 point of view, any sort of major protocol, you name it, it will probably be there on Polygon. Now, specific to Web2, I would say like one of the biggest partnerships or integrations we've had is the Robinhood non-custodial wallet. So Robinhood is building a smartphone-based non-custodial wallet, which we believe is a big step ahead for mass adoption and distribution, because Robinhood has like massive user base, everyone knows, and they would be like best people to roll out a product which can onboard like actually millions of users. So their wallet already has signups, around 1.5 mil signups. Uh, and of course, right now it's in testing phase on Polygon mainnet. But yeah, I think with time they will keep on opening it to new users as they are more confident about the product. Uh, yeah, and apart from that, Reddit NFTs went live on Polygon, and I think like 1 month ago or something. Apart from that, Meta NFTs will also be minted on Polygon, uh, and bunch of these payment startups are now also trying out stuff, figuring out how they can use Polygon as a settlement layer. So WorldPay is also like one name uh, from which you can see like big things happening. I mean, Stripe, of course, is working. So yeah, on the fintech and payment side, these two would be the ones.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, if Robinhood will, let's say, use you as executional layer, as far as I understand, right?
Yeah.
Then it's of course huge story and some positive vibes. Let's hope that.
Yeah. Of course, it's huge. It's massive.
But let's hope that the industry is not dying in 2023. Well, Mike, do you have some questions for Asif and Polygon?
I also wanted to add regarding FTX collapse and FTX case, because of course it has an impact to almost every Web3 player on the market, and probably in a bad way, right? But
Yeah.
I guess that for some of the strongest and for Polygon as well, it brought some good vibes as well. For example, as I see from your Twitter that some projects started to leave Solana and join Polygon, such as Magic Eden. It's like 3 days ago I saw this tweet.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, did you target maybe Polygon is targeting some strategy how to onboard these projects? and how to attract them, especially to Polygon's ecosystem, because it's a huge opportunity. And how do you aim to use it? Yeah,
Yeah, sure. So I mean, first off, like FTX uh, was, even though it affected Solana, but to be honest, it didn't bring much good vibes to us because I think a lot of people lost money, which of course is never pleasant. But I think uh, irrespective of the FTX fiasco, I think to a lot of teams we already had been talking because Magic Eden thing, it wasn't the case that after the crash we started to talk to them. These talks have been happening since months. Uh, and I think the major driver for that was because builders saw that Polygon as a network has a lot of users, activity, and has these massive onboarding funnels like Robinhood or any or Reddit or Meta. So I think already a lot of conversations were happening. But yeah, I think I would say that after this incident, yes, some more projects have started to reach to us. So in terms of their support, I would say like we'll of course uh, will do as an ecosystem whatever we can do. We are always there to support builders, but I think since the network is now relatively mature, so a lot of things already exist in the network, not only from developer tooling point of view, but users, liquidity, existing community. So they by default get this advantage, and a lot of it is organic. But yeah, if builders do approach us, we definitely try to help them out, however we can as an ecosystem.
Thank you, Asif, again for elaborating on this topic. Now I want to ask you some interesting question. So after Ethereum moves to proof of stake, and we know that Ethereum is, let's say, first and number one smart contract platform, which risks do you see for Polygon, opportunities, or how you want to compete with Ethereum for the most users?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think like first off, clearing there here. I think we are not a competitor to Ethereum, and we are more of a facilitator and supporter to Ethereum. Uh, and if Ethereum gets new users, we believe that it would be via us rather than the other way around. So we are not competing with Ethereum for users, but instead bringing on users to Ethereum. I think about proof of stake, I think that does not affect Polygon negatively in one bit. If anything, that was like one of the more bullish things that happened for Polygon, because I think if you look at even like our current chain, the current settlement layer, the final settlement happens on Ethereum, and we pay gas fees for that. And even our incoming ZK rollups, security layer would be Ethereum for that. So I think when Ethereum gets more adopted, we get more adoption and vice versa. And from Polygon becoming proof of stake network, I think Ethereum becoming proof of stake network, I think it definitely not only in terms of tokenomics and the node side helps more people participate, but even from an ESG standpoint, a lot of people and institutions feel more comfortable participating in like greener networks, which relatively Ethereum will be now after proof of stake. Now I know like crypto native people may see this as not a big issue. ESG tending towards ESG, but I would say that for these other institutions and new market participants, and when you talk about mass adoption, these things do matter for people. And now proof of stake pushes us in that direction. So if anything, it's better for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. But if you say that you don't compete with Ethereum, but only accelerate them or accelerate each other, here in this case, I would like to ask from Ethereum scaling solutions besides Polygon, which could be most promising in your opinion? Maybe which main competitors do you distinguish, and where do you see their strengths and their weaknesses?
Yeah, sure. So I would say, like, my opinion may be a bit biased, but there is no competitor to Polygon right now. And I can very clearly like underline the rationale behind that. So like first off, if you look at Ethereum scaling solutions, there are two approaches majorly. So one would be creating optimistic rollups, and one would be creating these ZK rollups or ZK knowledge rollups. Now, depending upon who you ask, if you ask optimistic rollup people, they will say that optimistic rollups are better than ZK rollups. So I don't think that's an argument you can win, but essentially in this current state, the fact is that all these optimistic rollups do not have fraud proofs or dispute resolution existing. So the claim around true Ethereum L2 security, that is invalid right now, because it's just that no fraud dispute resolution mechanism exists. Now, if you talk about ZK rollups, I think the other people who are trying to do this would be ZK Sync, Scroll, but ZK Sync does not have a prover whose code is public right now, unlike Polygons. And I think I'll have to check about Scroll's code, but yeah, I think they are also relatively behind Polygon. There's one more foundation that is trying to solve this called Starkware, but essentially their whole tech stack is not EVM based, and the programming language there is Cairo, on which creating applications is really tough because it's a new tech stack altogether. So getting more devs in will definitely be a challenge. So I would say like every L2 or rollup is at different phase, different stage of their life cycle. Of that stages and of those rollups, Polygon is relatively ahead. Yeah.
This was an answer of a biased person, but in positive sense. In positive sense. It's I
mean,
believe...
you can call me biased, but you can look at the GitHub code. It's all there. It's public.
I know.
So
I know.
yeah, it's fact, maybe biased, but yeah, fact-based bias.
That's true. I remember that Polygon last time had some issues with transaction settlements, but these issues have been solved now, because we also experience these issues with our IDOs on Polygon. Mike, do we have something from the community, maybe?
Yeah. Also, there is a question that that is relevant to one of the previous topics we discussed. So, as if you also told that you are in talks with a lot of projects even before FTX crash, and it sounds good to me, as it seems like we should expect more great news for Polygon ecosystem and Polygon community. But I'm curious regarding how exactly do you support the projects? I mean, Polygon is famous for its grant support of projects building, but besides funding support, what other areas where you help projects that receive grants?
Yeah, sure. So I would say there are different facets where essentially we support. So I mean, like first up, we have a huge community, so we can put behind the marketing machinery and just get more distribution to the builders, get more eyes to their products, make more people aware. I think that is one big advantage we have. So we have like not only like our own Twitter media channels, but there are some independent partners as well who sort of help us propagate the message. I think apart from that, we have a very builder centric approach. So essentially, what that means, if we see that there is certain form of synergy that can exist between protocols, but yeah, isn't currently being realized. So we make sure that those ecosystem protocols are on the same page and they are looking together how they can make the most composable uh, tech stack ecosystem. So one would be that, and then of course on the DevRel side, getting new developers in. Uh, I think we have hackathons the year round, uh, and we try to sort of put out bounties wherein the protocols which are live on Polygon, builders are incentivized to build on those. So that way you get a lot of innovation on top of existing protocols. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Asif. Well, we could talk with you for hours. Pretty cool that you was here today, but unfortunately our time will come to the end. Maybe one very last question, your personal opinion, and this is also the name of podcast. So what should we do to avoid such disasters like FTX as an ecosystem, as community? What should we take care of?
Yeah, sure.
In your opinion?
So I think like the most practical advice would be to just split up your crypto across platforms, across wallet, across, I mean, get a hardware wallet, of course, for sure. Uh, so this would be the most practical advice because, to be honest, you cannot keep zero funds on CEX because it's an execution layer that you sort of need because of the speed and liquidity that exists on that CEX. Apart from that, in terms of your holding, especially for stable coins, like one real practical advice would be to not hold just one stable coin and diversify across bunch of these. So if you hold just USDT, I guess hold on to USDC, BUSD, USDT, like split across three or more. Yeah, like these are the two most like practical advice I can give, which not financial advice also.
Sure, no, it's all about technology, right? It's a technology
Yeah.
advice, but it's because at the end it's a bunch of code. I agree to these advices. It's really important, like you said, but I will also to mention for the builders, for our ecosystem, that we probably should move to non-custodial CEXes also in this direction, where we have a DEX-like CEXes with smart contracts, which are really non-custodial, decentralized, and with fiat off and on-ramp, KYC. So practically, we should merge DEX and CEX technology together. I believe this would be one of the solution, because if the liquidity is, let's say, not in one master key, master wallet, but among a lot of master wallets, what is in case if you use smart contracts, then something like someone taking 500 millions before the company's closing will not happen. Let's hope. Let's hope it will be the case in future. And thank you, Asif, for being with Scaleswap today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
For us also. And dear community, greetings to you. We will continue with podcasts and try to get very good insights from the industry for you and share with you all the latest information and also debates.
Yeah,
Take
sure.
care.
Man, like just a final shout out from my side. If you're looking to build something new, innovative, I mean, of course, approach Scaleswap team. They'd be like the best people to help you out. But yeah, you can reach us as well if you want. I guess they will share my Twitter handle. So yeah, thank you everyone.
We will. Please subscribe, please like this video, and we will stay with you. Bye.